Katrin.
Hi, Sabi. It's a pleasure to be here.
The reason, as most of you may know who follow film in Kenya, Katrin Ender is an award-winning international documentary film director. And you'll tell us more about what I think was your gem, Papa Shilingi. Is that correct?
Yes, actually Papa Shilingi was my let's say my breakthrough in a way.
So what I would love to hear is, how you got into film and start from the beginning and why Kenya?
I've always been very interested in the visual arts since I'm very, very small. I was painting even from the age of 2, 3. My father kept all these paintings. I mean, he loves to gather stuff and he's a proper gatherer, And and then when I was 13, I got into photography and I saved up and bought myself my first SLR, manual SLR, and started black and white photography, and then went on to study design in London.
And you're one of those complete artists.
Yes.
It's not just video.
No.
It's not just film.
No, it's dance, it's language, it's whatever type of expression there is. If it's genuine and from the heart, it touches you. It transports some sort of meaning and message and maybe some wisdom, which makes you feel like you're learning and growing as a person. And that for me is art. Well, I ended up in Kenya because I was quite lucky that at the time my father was working here, and I grew up in West Africa, and somehow I guess that kind of leaves me very connected. Yes, I always have to come back. I don't know. There's I was at the time doing my master's in communication design in Germany and in England. And I came out here just for a break, and 3 days later I found myself writing a script, because I just felt so inspired, And then I decided to make my film, so I got myself some funding. I actually just went to the Goethe Institute and to the Alliance Française to meet people and say, you know what, I have this project, and I need some support. And then people just connected really quickly, completely followed my passion, and tried to materialize a certain idea that I have about healthy lifestyle. And and respecting your natural environment, which ties into the sport. Kitesurfing is an eco-friendly sport. It involves absolutely no fuel, nothing at all, but it involves the elements. It works out your whole body. It's great for your mind. You're not polluting at all. You don't even have to go out with a boat and then be dropped off or something. Right. You just start from the beach and you just use the natural elements. And I just felt like I needed to make a film about that and put kitesurfing in Kenya on the global map. Because kitesurfing is probably the fastest growing sport globally right now. So far, people don't know about the sport. They don't know it can be done here. It's the sport itself on the world is just 15 years old. And in Kenya, let me think, they started kitesurfing about 6 years ago.
What do you think of that, as Kenya being kind of a location for this kind of the background to Hollywood movies? And if that is an entry point for us, or if it's kind of like the golden egg for us, or kind of an albatross that we have hanging around our necks, as you mentioned, that's an opportunity to some extent.
Yes, it's a very interesting point, because actually I think this is exactly the clue and the key to the future. Because Africa, or let's say the typical cliche Africa, is usually South Africa. South Africa is being used for commercials, for feature film, whatever, because it has all the nature. Now the advantage we have in Kenya is that we've got all what South Africa has, but a smaller space. So we have less traveling time between sets.
Yes.
And
that's the diversity of the Kenyan landscape.
Makes Kenya more expensive because things take longer here.
Interesting. Time is money, as they say.
Time is money, yeah. Because when Hollywood comes in, per diems, overheads, they go by day. So if things take 3 times longer, it's 3 times more expensive.
Now, what do you think about the talent in Kenya and how people like you, but also Kenyans, are able to take advantage of the opportunities if they exist? What
depicts a country, or let's say, a nation of filmmakers, for example, is when they start writing their own stories.
Yes.
And of course using the infrastructure to produce them, but it's the ideas that count, So and you can only write something and create a film about something if you have an opinion about something, a very strong one, if you have a story to tell. There are a few very talented writer-directors in this country, and the challenge now is getting enough funding for their idea. Money is important in film because it will define what equipment you can use, what type of production you can be, working, like what kind of framework it will have. Whereas if you're on low budget, you're very tight on time and you have not major light, and lighting is the key. I feel Kenya is on somewhat a different level. I feel like there is a lot of, especially looking at the productions that come here also, like, Tomb Raider, Constant Gardener. That's the kind of level that I feel people also see themselves in and want to be in. And when there's productions like Soul Boy happening, and Nairobi Half-Life, which is all initiated by Ginger Inc. and another
Ginger Inc.,
which is a local production company.
But in this day of kind of flip video cameras and video editing tools, is it kind of whoever has a camera can go out there and do something, or
I think
a bit of talent? What would you advise people aspiring to get into either film or documentary film?
I wouldn't advise on a genre. I think that kind of just falls into place. Again, the most essential and the key is idea. You need to have an idea, you need to have an opinion about something, you need to be able to tell a story about something. So you need to have a personal standpoint towards a certain subject, and that is the story you're now developing using the genre of film, using the genre of fiction, documentary, whatever it is, so it's working on what is it that you're talking about, and what is your message, what is your point, and what are you trying to bring across, and then the executional bit now is where you think about, okay, what genre, what elements, what technique, and all that, to create the most powerful product. So I accord a lot of importance to soundtrack because it is psychologically stronger, and it can grab an audience, and it can add so much meaning to the picture.
It's not just a product about sun, beach, and sand, but also about the music talent in a way.
Yes. Made the soundtrack. I mean, the entire soundtrack of the film is made in Kenya, original music, and music and sound has at least 50, if not more, % to do with it.
Kitesurfing yourself.
Well, I'm learning. I'm not, I'm not very good. I mean, at all. But
rumor has it that you're equally as comfortable in front of the camera.
Well, yeah, you're actually right. 2 years ago, I happened to be in Iraq.
As one
to be
yes, okay.
to do a documentary on a very fascinating project that I came across when I was there. And as I was doing that, I was approached by an Iraqi-American director to help him out on his feature film, and yes, I took on the lead character and got back into acting in a language that wasn't mine or any of the ones that I, very luckily speak, but so I had to learn Kurdish for that, and co-produced and took on the lead character. And the film is now being screened at the major film festivals in Europe, so Rotterdam. It's probably going to run in Berlinale, Berlin Film Festival next February.
Wow.
So yeah, I hope it's good. I don't know, I haven't seen it yet. So so that was my little excursion in front of the camera, which is pretty serious, I guess, if it's going to be running in all those festivals. I'm a writer-director. I like to create behind the camera, and I like to inspire people and bring something out of it. Worked in the UK, worked in Germany, been doing some work in the Philippines and in Singapore, and brought it all back to Kenya, and using it here. Film can give you factual information, but more than anything, it can move your soul, it can touch your heart, it can give you goosebumps, and it can change your way of looking at things, because it can make you feel something. I think it's very important that as a director you put yourself in the shoes of everyone that you depend on as a director.
Right.
Your team, even the kitchen person,
right.
The people cooking the food, your actors, everybody really, So I love life. I'm an explorer of life, and I've spent the last 10 years of my life exploring what it takes to make film. So I was a production runner on feature film sets in London. I was a camera assistant. I was a production manager. I was in art department. Directing, writing.
So you bring all that, and I think that's a wonderful note to which to end, because we need to bring everything that we have into this medium of film.
Yes.
And people have come from different backgrounds. And it's bringing that message, that energy, which I know you keep using and which I see in you and I feel in you, into the film. And that's why you're here today, because despite your very, very tight schedule, you've made the time to come here. So I'd like to say thank you, Katrin.
Thank you very much.
And we look very much forward to watching the premiere of Kitesurfing and the Kurdish film. What's the name of it? Does it have a name yet?
One Candle, Two Candles.
One Candle, Two Candles.
Yeah.
So you heard it here. And thanks once again, Katrin, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you.